I've mentioned before about how much I love rock music and how my favorite subgenre of rock is alternative rock, pop punk, that kind of thing. With that in mind, when I saw this video that we're about to cover, I kept pausing to interject and I realized I got to make a video about this myself. So, with that said, hey everyone, my name's Christian Verstappen and I have a lot to say about many things. I want to talk about When Pop Punk Ruined Your Favorite Songs by Alpho Media. Now, before we get into the actual video, let's take a look at this thumbnail. What immediately grabbed my attention was the image of All Time Low here with an X over Jack and Ryan and a thumbs down over the face of Zach with Alex having evil eyes. And I'm pretty sure I recognize this image from the Future Hearts tour, or not tour, Future Hearts era, I mean. Although it could have been from the Don't Panic era. In fact, let me see if I can find a quick thing of that real quick. No, I want here. I would look that up like ah. This is where that image is taken from, and yes, this is from the Future Hearts, the Future Hearts era, which was throughout 2015 and 2016. I knew I recognized this. I was like, I know this image. So that's the original image, and there we go. Anyway, really caught my attention, so I started watching it, and I realized I gotta talk about this. So here we go.
Once in a while, something happens in music that totally turns the whole medium on its head. If you're lucky, you'll be alive to bear witness to one of these impactful events. The world domination of Michael Jackson, Jimi Hendrix at Woodstock, Nirvana changing the direction of rock with Smells Like Teen Spirit, and yet all of these things pale in comparison to the Punk Goes Blank album series produced by Fearless Records. And today we will be admiring the worst of the worst from this series. Okay, so we may have overstated that first part, but we hope you join us on this wild ride through an often overlooked piece of questionable music history. Ask any former emo kid, and they probably have a personal favorite track from these albums. So how...
I do, and we'll get to it, and what do you mean former emo? It's not a phase, it's a lifestyle.
And more importantly, why did the Punk Goes album start? Well, let's go back to the prime.
That's from the, I'm just gonna point out all this stuff.
We have a personal favorite track from these albums. So how and more...
This is from the Dear Maria, oh, it even says, All Time Low, Dear Maria, Count Me In, yes. Released in 2008, a year after the So Wrong It's Right record that it actually came from.
More importantly, why did the Punk Goes album start? Well, let's go back to the prime days of Warped Tour when one of the co-writers of this video was enduring its sweltering conditions and almost being crushed to death by a crowd in order to get a glimpse of All Time Low. Pop punk was having its moment, and more importantly to Fearless Records, it was making a lot of money. The label themselves even claimed the way too specific title of the top-selling compilation in the alternative genre, boasting cumulative album sales in excess of 2.5 million and nearly 250 million streams to date. The first album in the series was Punk Goes Metal in 2000, which makes a lot more sense genre-wise than what would come soon after. That through line from punk to metal isn't a crazy jump, but this series, this label, this idea really became prominent in the pop punk scene in 2001 with, you guessed it, Punk Goes Pop.
So one thing I want to explain real quick right here, Jesus, is that the notion of punk bands, hardcore, metal, whatever, taking popular songs and making either like a parody of it or their own kind of like making fun of it or just making their own rendition of it has always been a thing for a really long time, except it used to only be done at live shows. It wasn't something that people would necessarily make actual studio versions of because it wasn't something they wanted to be known for per se. It was more so that they just wanted to like play at concerts for their fans and stuff.
This has some pretty interesting picks, like Yellowcard's cover of Everywhere by Michelle Branch. Here's the original.
You're everywhere.
And here's the Punk Goes Pop Yellowcard version.
You're everywhere.
By the way, just to be clear on that, of course, it's sped up and you're not going to get much, gotta avoid that copyright shit. That was still pretty rock, right? Like, it still, like, I mean, still had an electric guitar in it, so it's some drums, so it all that stuff. I will say I have noticed over the years that, like, while I've always said, oh, I love rock, and I do, really what I love, and a lot of people even that like make this kind of music and stuff, I love pop with rock elements. So pop with like guitars and drums and all that stuff, right? I like electric guitars, I like all that stuff, but I love like poppy hooks and melodies and all that stuff, right? Um, and it's funny because a lot of like big popular punk bands, even before pop punk specifically, like the Ramones, they were asked in an interview one time where people, one of the guys said they were like, "Oh yeah, we listen to like bubblegum pop, like we listen to like all that shit because why wouldn't we?" Basically, like a lot of people who listen to this stuff have this image of like, oh well, it would never have anything to do with like, I don't know, like Britney Spears or something. When in actuality, yeah, a lot of these artists are influenced by many different pop artists of their day.
It is at this time when I need to explain that the people in charge of this are being pretty generous with describing their artists as punk in their title. If any hardcore punk rock fans watching this thought that it was going to be Dead Kennedys and The Clash covering pop music, no. Think less about what you know as punk rock and more about the fact that we mentioned Warped Tour a little while ago. Many of these covers honestly sound like they're just an obvious excuse for people that are, insert extremely large sarcastic quotes, too cool to listen to pop music to listen to pop music. But
That the 100%. That was me. 100,000%. I've talked about this before. There are other artists who have done this kind of thing, but if we look up, let's look up like Dave Days covers. So Dave Days did this. Of course, he would cover Blink 182 and All Time Low, which is how I found out about All Time Low and other bands like this. But he did like a pop punk cover of California Dreamin' by the Mamas and the Papas. He did Payphone by Maroon 5 featuring Megan Nicole. He also did this song. Oh, he did. He would take these songs, Stay with his girlfriend at the time. He did that. All sorts of different songs, and so does First to 11. First to 11 is like one of the artists that still does this, but a lot of the artists that songs that First to 11 does are covers. We have things like we have some some rock things here, right? Like we have U2 and stuff, and Iron Maiden, which would maybe make more sense. But we also have them doing. Oh, they did Monsters by Us. I'm really cool. I'll have to check that out. But they also do things like Adele, Someone Like You. Carly, Leave It All to Me. Cool. We have trying to find like Kesha. We have like all these different. So I mean, Carry Underwood Before He Cheats. That's a country song, but still. Yeah. So like this idea of artists, especially that were like kind of starting out on like YouTube or whatever. When I was trying to make music, I would do the same thing. One of the things that I liked doing was, and it wasn't because any of us that did this necessarily hated these songs. It was just that, hey, here's this song and here's my take on it. It's a cover. You'll hear this a lot with, and we're gonna get to Punk Goes Christmas here later, which I love. But you'll hear this a lot with different bands have been doing different renditions of Christmas songs, for example, for a long time. Like this kind of thing. Again, this is nothing new.
But there's no denying how easily these tracks cross genres, even if they're painfully, stereotypically pop-punk at times. In their eyes, going from pop to punk just means adding electric guitar and bad drums to Baby One More Time
and that's all you need.
Replacing Britney with some whiny white guy in his late 20s that has a thing for underage girls. You can...
Okay. Ignoring that last part, that's all you need. Guitar, drums, voice that sounds like something I can relate to more, 100%. Yeah, that's it. That's literally all that it took for someone like me. Again, Dave Days, like great example.
Assume how most of these songs sound. But for something truly awful from this album, see...
Again, if you want to hear like the full thing without being sped up, check out the guy's actual video.
Heaven is a Place on Earth by the band Student Rick, with vocals I can only describe as Eric Cartman adjacent. Heaven is a place on earth. Moving on to the crown jewel of garbage, Punk Goes Crunk.
I only know one song from this record, and we'll get to it.
Released in 2008, and this is the actual album cover that is sending shivers down my spine even just thinking about it right now. P.S. With that timing, all I'm thinking of is a struggling couple making their way through the global financial crisis. It's the worst it's been money-wise since the Great Depression, and your snot-nosed
Are we about to get into an ad?
kid is blasting pop-punk versions of rap songs at full volume. We would also like to acknowledge the fact that a lot of the songs they're covering are simply not crunk. Crunk is a term for a high-energy, southern hip-hop sound with an aggressive, dance-oriented nature. It's clear that for Fearless Records and
Punk Goes Crunk,
crunk is pretty much boiled down to all hip-hop ever, ranging from Will Smith in Men in Black to ODB, Rihanna, Outkast, Lil Jon, and even even Arrested Development. Hip-hop is a wide umbrella term, crunk is not, but these guys clearly don't care about what things mean at all. The album begins
Well, I mean, the whole point, right, is that
with an aggressive, dance-oriented nature. It's clear that for Fearless Records and Punk,
it rhymes. Punk, crunk. Like, that was the whole point. Yeah, I mean, yeah, punk goes crunk. Like, I didn't even know what crunk was when I heard it. I think I heard the term crunk before, or like get crunk or something, but you gotta understand, this music is not made for people that would normally listen to that music. This music is made for people like me who would not listen to that music. Like, I don't know hardly any of the songs that are on Punk. I don't know the originals of hardly any of the songs on Punk Goes Crunk, or most of the what would be on like the Pop Goes series, or the Pop Goes Punk series. I just didn't. I just didn't. Or sorry, Punk Goes series rather. The Punk Goes Pop, whatever. Because it's made for those kind of people. The people who, like you said, too cool for pop, only to listen to pop. Yeah, 100%.
Goes crunk. Crunk is pretty much boiled.
But what it did, it was one of the things, it was really cool, it was one of the things that made me realize when I reflected on it in more recent years, I kind of always liked pop music. You know what I mean? Like, yes, I prefer it with like drums and guitars and all that. But the core essence of like what pop music is, people will now consider like the Beatles and Elvis Presley and Chuck Berry and like these guys, they'll consider them pop. I say they're rock because to me, pop is a very specific thing that doesn't have real instruments, and that's really the big thing. It doesn't have real instruments, and it's very like dancey kind of music. But the more that I learned about this stuff, the more that I kind of realized even my own taste, the more that I realized, no, I actually do like pop. I just like thought I was too cool for it and kind of had a stick up my ass for it. I was 100% one of those people that thought because I liked older stuff, I wouldn't say I thought I was like above other people, but I definitely felt like I was definitely one of those people that was like, oh, I listen to real music. You know what I mean? Like, I listen to real music. I was 100% one of those people. I didn't like say it, but I felt it. You know what I mean? Like, and the thing is, when it comes to artists covering songs and stuff that someone like me would not listen to at all, what it does is it opens the door for us to listen to that stuff, which is awesome. So if we go through this stuff, I'm going to tell you, okay. So I don't know this one. I don't know Put Your Hood Up. I don't know Got Your Money. I know Say Anything. I know these bands. I don't know I Wish. I don't know Men in Black. I know the movie Men in Black. I don't know California Love. I don't know I Want to Love You. Akon. I'm pretty sure Akon did the... Didn't he work with Zebra? No, that wasn't. Kryptonite. I know Kryptonite by Three Doors Down, but I don't know this one. The Speed. I don't know that. Still Fly. I don't know that. I know Pretty Fly for a White Guy. Umbrella by Rihanna with All Time Low covering it. I know that. And I will tell you, wait, have I heard the full... I think I've heard of the full Rihanna original, but whenever I think of the song Umbrella, I think of All Time Low's version. We'll get to all these later. Let's just keep going.
Down to all hip-hop ever, ranging from Will Smith in Men in Black to ODB, Rihanna, Outkast, Lil Jon, and even Arrested Development.
Isn't Outkast the one that did the like, hey, yeah, alright, wasn't that him?
Hip-hop is a wide umbrella term, crunk is not, but these guys clearly don't care about what things mean at all. The album begins with Put Yo Hood Up by Set Your Goals, who fittingly opens the song by shouting out some of the whitest suburbs in the California Bay Area.
Oh shit.
But the rest who fittingly opens the song by shouting out some of the whitest suburbs in the California Bay Area. Still, on the surface, this seems like it would be one of the more tolerable songs on this album, at least it's kind of self-aware, until you realize that it's 5 minutes long, which seems to go on for an eternity, especially when you have to get through a Yoda impression rap verse. This is a real thing. Here's the original and the abomination. Forever the sickest...
It doesn't sound that different to me. It sounds the same, except it has... Okay, here, you know what? Let's
especially when you
let's go ahead and check out what it actually sounds like, so we're not, we won't get copyright for just like 2 seconds.
Have to get through a Yoda
Okay. That's the original.
and The Abomination.
Sounds alright to me. It's just got a guitar riff in the back. Okay. That's it.
Forever the Sickest Kids cover of the aforementioned credit song to the 1997 film Men in Black opens kind of promisingly with a straightforward pop-punk version of the chorus. Unfortunately, like most other songs on this album, this then transitions into unseasoned white boy rapping. None of them are the Fred Dursts that they want to be. Once again, we are failing to see the crunk in this song, but also this is just a laughable pick for hip-hop in general. The first thing that comes to mind for rap music for these guys is the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Yeah, actually, never mind, I can totally believe that. Another unfortunate inclusion in this is I Wanna Love You. Believe that.
The good guys dress in black, remember that, just in case we're ever face to face and make contact. The title held by me.
Another
Again, I'm sorry. It doesn't sound bad to me. I don't know what to tell you. Again, this isn't made for people that know this stuff. It's made for people who don't know that stuff. Like, we know the bands that are covering this stuff, and again, it can be used as a doorway for people like myself who would not listen to this stuff in a million years, but now that we have set it off on this record? I'm not sure. But Forever the Sickest Kids covering it, or in my case, All Time Low, hey, now I might actually listen to some of, I might listen to the original Umbrella and then see, oh, okay, that's what it's like. Yeah.
Unfortunate inclusion in this is I Wanna Love You by The Maine, originally by Akon. The opening makes you think it's going to be a travesty with its cheap preset Casio keyboard type beat and your local PCP dealer doing Akon's classic intro.
Convict music. Convict music.
But it's
Wait, what?
Akon's classic intro.
Convict music. Convict music.
But
Okay, I will say I don't like that intro either, like the Maine's intro. And the Maine did Jamie All Over, which is an incredible fucking song. You should absolutely listen to it if you haven't heard it. I'll never go back to Georgia, not at least till I have to.
it's not totally excruciating. The whole song just sounds deflated. It feels like they were trying really hard to bring some originality to this Midwest emo-leaning cover, and they ended up sounding rushed in some parts and just lethargic in others. I feel nothing about this.
You and you already know I wanna love you.
One of the standouts on this album that really runs with the
I wanna love you.
One of the standouts on this album that really runs with the concept is Devil Wears
Already know
I feel nothing about this.
Wait, I recognize this.
you and you already know
Oh, this is the Maine again? Interesting.
I wanna love you.
Or is it the same song?
One of the standouts on this album that really runs with the concept is Devil
Oh, it was the same song, okay.
Wears Prada's cover of Still Fly by Big Timers, aka Birdman and Manny Fresh. This one gets double points because not only do they turn up the dial to 10 stylistic,
I have no idea who these artists are, by the way. I know who the bands are. I have no idea who these rappers are. But again, that's my whole point. It's cool. It opens the door for people like me to this whole world we wouldn't have known otherwise.
but the original is much more authentic to crunk than just about everything else that these bands picked from. If
Okay.
screaming isn't your thing, you probably won't love this one, but I really appreciate them actually going for it and not phoning it in. It feels like the most fully fleshed out song in this album with solid instrumentals. Do you
Yeah, it's not really my thing.
ever listen to Umbrella by Rihanna and think, man, this is all good, but I really wish this song had a lot more sneering pop-punk vocals?
Yes. Whenever I listen to, if I ever hear Umbrella in general, I think, this is good, but I do like All Time Low's version better.
Well, All Time Low's cover is made for you. Co-writer
They never did a music video for this song, by the way. However, they did, okay, so one of the important things about All Time Low's cover of Umbrella, it was a song that they used, let me see, do live. They would actually, it was released as a single, but they would actually perform it live a lot back in the day. Like this was 10 years ago. They would perform it live a lot because it was a big hit for them, because so again, the cool thing about covering this stuff is it's the same thing when like All Time Low recently covered The Weeknd Blinding Lights. I had never heard Blinding Lights until they covered it. Now I like their version and I like The Weeknd's version, and it opened the door to me being interested in The Weeknd in general because here, I don't know why I did a new tab for that, but whatever. Yeah, they did Blinding Lights. And like I had heard it, I knew of it, and I thought to myself when I was listening to it, I was like, wait a minute, this sounds familiar. And then it took me a minute, and I was like, oh, okay, I know what that is. But like I only knew The Weeknd for Starboy, which I hated that song and kind of didn't like him because it seemed like it was just a huge flex, and I'm like, fuck off, dude. But yeah, like your favorite artists covering types of songs that they normally wouldn't do or something can open the door to their audience, again, like myself, who I wouldn't have listened to Rihanna if All Time Low didn't cover it. I wouldn't have listened to, now I would because I've been intentionally expanding my horizons more in general. But I wouldn't, especially back then, I wouldn't. And I don't know if I would be at the point of, having that realization and expanding my horizons before or now if it wasn't for these kinds of things happening.
Bryn has a special place in her heart for this song, but also
Okay.
readily admits that the chorus is pretty much unbearable, with Alex Gaskarth's
I completely disagree. It's not any different than Rihanna's.
Ella,
Yep.
feeling torturously
It just makes me want to listen to the song. It's good. It's a good song. I can't play it on here, obviously, but it's good.
long and tedious, but the rest of it is pretty solid. Just a fun pop punk track with.
By the way, this I'm just gonna flex my All Time Low knowledge because they're my favorite band, and I don't really get to talk about them much. So, the reason Alex's hair is like this is because he lost a bet. I don't remember what the bet specifically was, but I think it was with his best friend Jack. He lost a bet and he had to dye his hair black with like pink streaks, and I think it's a good look. But in any case, sorry, I just want to. Also, this is from like probably 2010 or 11, I want to say. This is definitely Dirty Work era. And if you're, I really hope there's like fans that are also watching this and they're like, oh, I know what that means, for like the eras and shit. But anyway.
The rest of it is pretty solid, just a fun pop punk track with definitely no bias whatsoever, wink wink. And if we're being honest, I think the themes and lyrics of the original are perfectly ripe for a pop punk cover.
For sure.
There is
That is unironic. When I think of Umbrella, unironically, that's what I think of.
something sort of fun about the Escape Frames Nothing But a G Thing in a very 2010s indie sleaze kind of way. It doesn't sound like it's trying too hard to be something it's not. The singers aren't trying to act cooler than they are, or overly point out how lame all of this is conceptually. It doesn't sound super pop punk until a small, welcome flourish in the last 30 seconds, and they took this song in a unique direction, which is exactly what so many tweens loved about this compilation back in the day. For all the terrible, no good, bad songs on this album, the covers that are a disgrace to who they are covering. P.S. I can't even fathom that there's a Cody Chestnut song on here. I can't take this anymore. Somebody please get me out of here. I will leave you with Hey Ya by Laureen Drive. Some might say,
Yo, they did. So Outkast is the Hey Ya guy. Okay.
hey, wow, you guys even had to mess with musicians as sacred as Andre 3000 and Big Boy. You had to kill arguably the most likable song ever made. But this one literally just sounds like a Kidz Bop version, and that right there says more about this whole project than I ever could.
Let's check it out. Again, I'm sorry, dude. It doesn't sound any different from Outkast's version, except that it has guitars and drums. Yeah, sorry.
Hey, thank you for watching that.
But again, what's so cool about this stuff is that you get to see these artists you get to be introduced to this whole different world that, again, I myself would not normally be a part of. I wouldn't have, found these songs and listened to them and stuff. So, as trite as it might be, and everything, to have people like me and like that who, think, or in my case thought, they were too cool to listen to pop but still listen to pop. um it works. It's a great way to open the door and to introduce people to things that they might not otherwise know. So it's yeah, really good. By the way, something they very briefly mentioned but didn't actually properly talk about was the best Punk Goes, which is Punk Goes Christmas, in which we have the wait, that's not the opening track. You Is it? Wait, I should know this. No, it's not. I didn't think so. I listen to this every Christmas. One of the first Christmas songs I listen to every year is Fool's Holiday by All Time Low, which is an original Christmas song. They have two Christmas songs. One is called Merry Christmas Kiss My Ass, which was on the Dirty Work record, and they also have a song called Fool's Holiday, which was on this record. Both of those are original Christmas songs. They never did any other Christmas. Well, that's not entirely true. Alex did do who's that violinist girl? Lindsey Sterling. Yeah. Alex Gaskarth was featured on Lindsey Sterling's Warmer in the Winter, in which he did he was they did a duet. And it wasn't, by the way, it didn't sound like an All Time Low song. It sounded like a Lindsey Sterling song with him doing vocals. Like, that's what it was. Yeah, because he can sing like regular, like typical pop music or whatever. Anyway, no, this is a great thing. I don't think I've ever listened to the deluxe version. I know 12 Days of Pop Punk Christmas because I know Sunrise Skater Kids, but I know a version of Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. Oh no, the version of Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas I'm thinking of features a ton of different artists, and they came together for a thing called, what was it called? Holidays. They put it out on SoundCloud, and it had it featured let me see if I can find. It's not going to say who all the artists were, but it had it had Alex from All Time Low. It had Luke from 5 Seconds of Summer. It had a whole bunch of other artists. It was great. It had like singers from all different like punk bands, a bunch of different pop punk bands like just came together to make it. It was great. Anyway, I could go on and gush about this shit forever, but like, I love rock, and especially alt rock and pop punk. It's like I breathe that shit, like live and breathe that shit. I could gush forever about All Time Low and how much I love them and they mean to me and all that shit. Like, I could go on and on about this stuff. But the whole point with all of this was to just have some fun looking over this video and sharing this experience with you. And again, really kind of opening this conversation that, yeah, covers and remakes and all these different things. People complain about like remakes and all this stuff all the time. Different renditions of stuff are really cool because, again, it can open up people to experience something they wouldn't have experienced before. It's very important, and of course this is true with all things. It's very important to meet people where they're at and to cater to their current interests and current viewpoints in order to not necessarily shift them, but just like introduce them to something new. And I think they did a really good job. But I don't want to keep talking about like just going on and on about this stuff or the Christmas stuff specifically, because this is not intended to be a Christmas video. Though I do love Christmas, and will get to that in a month. Side note, I hate how stores and stuff start doing Christmas stuff a month before. Like, to me, Christmas stuff should start December 1st, but that whole other thing. I'm just rambling. Anyway, this is a fun video. I hope you guys enjoy it. We've been talking about a lot of heavy stuff lately, so I really hope that this was just a fun little jaunt through an interest of mine outside of, social political issues. And if you like this, give it a like. Because as always, these are my thoughts. Let me know what yours are in the comments down below. Follow me on social media for more. Links in the description. Subscribe and ring the bell to stay up to date. Leave a like if you like. And if not, I hope you found something to do like. Later, guys. Peace and love.